Swastiastu. Good morning, Miss. Good morning, everyone. In this video, I will make a presentation. Before that, well, introduce my name is Nikarek Sri Adiningsi. You can call me Sri. I'm from English Education Department, 5A class. So, in the subject of teaching English young learners, with the lecture is Putu Santi Oktarina, SPD MPD. Here, I will bring material about the first is class management, the second is discipline, the third one is recruitment for English young learners setting. Okay, the next is class management. Classroom management refers to the wide variety of skill and techniques that teacher use to keep students organized, orderly, focused, attentive on tasks, and academically productive during a class. When classroom management strategies are executed effectively, teachers minimize the behavior that impaired learning for both individual student and group of students, while maximizing the behavior that facilitate or enhance learning. Okay, the next is the general strategies by teacher in class management. The first is entry routine. Is a technique in which teacher establishes a constant daily routine that begins as soon as students enter to the classroom, preparing learning material, making sheet assessment, pacing in homework, or doing a brief physical warm-up. Activity will all be example entry routines. The second is do now. It's a brief written activity that students are given as soon as they arrive in the classroom. The third is take transition. It's a technique in which the teacher establishes transition routines that students learn and can execute equally and repeatedly without much direction from a teacher. 4 is sit signal. It's a technique in which students use nonverbal signal while stage to indicate that they need something such as new pencil, as restroom, break, or help with a problem. 5 is group. Is the acts of publicly recognized and praising students who have done something good, such as answering a difficult question or helping a peer. 6. Nonverbal interpretation is when teacher establish eye contact or make gesture that let students know they are off task, not paying attention, or misbehaving. Okay, the next is passive group correction. It's a quick appearing verbal reminder that lets a group of students know what they should be doing. And the last one, do it again. It's used when students do not perform a basic task correctly and the teacher asks them to do it again to correct why. Okay, the next is type of class management. There are 4 styles of classroom management: authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, and indulgent. They range from the teacher having a very strong control and less student improvement to the teacher having less control and more student improvement. The first is authoritarian. The authoritarian classroom management style is described as a teacher having total control over the classroom. Students are not given to flexibility to be actively improved and responsive. The teacher maintains the spotlight and control over all aspects of the class. Second is authoritative. The authoritative classroom management style is a balance of teacher control and student improvement. In this style of classroom, students are encouraged to participate and collaborate, but also follow the rule. Structure exists but does not overtake student autonomy. The teacher follows student input and feedback on how they feel about their learning improvement and ideas that can be incorporated to make it better. The third is permissive. The permissive classroom management style has low level of control and improvement. The teacher of this style does not encourage their student not have the desire to. This teacher is thrown in the towel and does not have a passion most educator embody. The students in this class are left to do as they please due to the lack of structure and planning from the teacher. Permissive management does not impose a rule for student. The teacher is hand-off and allows student behavior to get out of hand at time. The fourth and the last one is intelligent. The intelligent classroom management style is described as high level of improvement but a low level of control. The teacher gives a student the freedom to express themselves, but due to the lack of control, the class is taken over by student and lesson tend to get off task. The teacher using this style is usually liked by the student. They feel comfortable talking with the teacher and might consider him or her as a friend. The intelligent teacher does prepare, listen, and attempt to present them, but the low level of control prohibits lesson delivery be successful. Okay, the next is how do you choose a classroom management style? Choosing the classroom management style that will work for you takes trial and error. As the leader in your classroom, you know what your students need. A teacher's success is measured by the success of his or her student. In order for students to have success, the classroom environment must be organized and allow for interaction. Having a balance of control and improvement is vital. Okay, the next is 7 habits of highly effective classroom management. The first is set the tone. Don't just stay at your desk before class begins. Stand near the door of your classroom and greet kids as they enter. The second is jump right in. Good managers start class right away. On college of mine, when the bell rings, shut his door, turn to his student, raises his arm, and announces. The third is establish the rule. Good classroom manager have protocol in place to handle routine issues that occur in a very classroom. 4. Have a plan. Good classroom manager don't just have a specific plan, they share it with their student too. 5. Involve your kids. Good managers are enthusiastic about the subject they teach, but that does not mean the monologue for the entire class. 6 is respect your kid. Good classroom manager like and respect kid and they show it. They smile, they act like they are happy to be there. They expect kids to make mistakes and understand when they do, and they appreciate when kids work at and tell them so. They walk around the room and interact with kids, offering help and individual praise. And the last one, keep it quiet. Good classroom manager don't buy favorites and their kids trust them to apply the rule openly. They don't ignore poor behavior from some kids but not from others. The second material part is discipline. Discipline refers to creating control in behavior. In a way, discipline is a way of living according to a set of rules and guidelines expected from individuals in different contexts and situations in life. Discipline is gained by individual through self-control under the social approach standard of thought and action. Very important in life science, it gives strength and power for people to live a better life. Okay, the next is class rule. The first is at the beginning of the school years, establish the class rule. The second is discuss classroom rule with the student and consequence of misbehavior. And the third one is post-room rule and consequence of misbehavior. Okay, the next is setting time limits. The first is you should set time to each activity when you are planning your lesson so that you will know if you will be able to finish your objective or not. The second is you should tell your student about the time assigned for each activity when you give them a task to do in a class. And the last one, your students should gradually be aware of the importance of the time issue and respect it. Okay, the next is the three types of discipline. The first is preventative. Discipline is about establishing expectation, guidelines, and classroom rule for behavior during the first day of lesson in order to proactively prevent disruption. Second is sportive. Sportive discipline, on the other hand, occur in the case of a transgression. It is usually a verbal warning or a suggestion for the correction of behavior. And the last one, corrective. Corrective discipline comes into a play when a student aspires to change his or her behavior after repeated attempt at sportive discipline. It mostly refers to the consequence delivered following an infraction. Okay, the third material but is reinforcement for English young learners setting. Reinforcement is a consequence of play that will strengthen and organize future behavior whenever the behavior is preceded by a specific attention stimulus. Okay, the next material is there are 4 types of reinforcement. The first is positive reinforcement, is the application of a positive reinforce. The second is negative reinforcement, is the practice of removing something negative from the space of the subject as a way to encourage the attention behavior from that subject. The third is extension, improve a behavior that requires no contingent consequence. If something good or bad is not reversed, it shall in theory disappear. And the last one, punishment. Punishment is an imposition of oversight consequence even undersized behavior. Punishment by removal is a common example of removing a benefit following poor performance. Okay, the next material but is primary and secondary recruitment. Primary recruitment is a naturally occurring reaction to a stimulus. The response is innate and does not require intricate learning. Primary recruitment is a reflex that an organism performs automatically whenever the corresponding stimulus is presented. Meanwhile, secondary recruitment. Secondary recruitment is repeatedly pairing a natural stimulus with a primary recruitment so that the natural stimulus can induce the same response as the primary one. The main difference between primary and secondary reports is that primary reports is biological stimulus using involuntary reflex, while secondary reports is conditioned stimulus using learned behavior. Okay, the last material is K-term. The first is reinforcement, a consequence applied to encourage a certain behavior to increase the chance of it happening again. Second, continuous, a type of learning which reinforces a desired behavior every time it occurs. The third is partial, a type of learning which occasionally reinforces a desired behavior after it happened, such as praising a student every other time a question is answered correctly. 4. Extension, a process which describes a desired behavior diminishing over time, usually as a result of reinforcement no longer being offered. 5. Classical conditioning, a learning technique that unconsciously pairs a stimulus with an autonomic behavioral response. When the stimulus is received, the automatical behavior response is eventually learned to be associated with the stimulus. And the last one, operant conditioning, a learning technique that employs positive and negative reinforcement in the form of reward or punishment to encourage an individual to pick up or stop a specific behavior. It is sometimes referred to as instrumental conditioning. Alright, next presentation for me. I apologize if there are wrong words or other things. I say thank you and I end with Paramasanti. Santi, Santi, Santi. Om.